I was introduced to welding at Glide High School in the Ag class, taught by John Fine. And John, let me apologize to you right now because I know I was a petulant, vain little high school jerk, so I'm sorry. I'm somewhat better now. But I just want to thank Mr. Fine for teaching me how to weld. He had a pretty good shop. We learned with 6013 gas welding. We learned to gas weld, and then 6013 and 6011, and I got my feet wet. And it's made a big difference in my life. What I want to talk about right now is 5 tools, maybe 6, that have made a difference in my fabrication, not just in speed and accuracy, but satisfaction. And they came to me late. Some of them are recent developments, and they all have been really, really welcome in my shop and probably would be welcome in your shop. The first thing is, it doesn't matter what your craft is, it doesn't matter what your trade is, you've got to mark before you cut. And marking steel is its own problem, especially when you're going to cut it with heat, because a pencil or a Sharpie or almost anything else that you use in wood or carpentry doesn't hold up to that environment. But soapstone does, and you probably know that. And I used soapstone for a long time with various holders, and they would get smashed and bent and lost, and the soapstone gets broken and it gets dropped on the floor or goes through the washing machine, and you don't have it when you need it. Soapstone works great, but everything got better when I got tired of buying pieces of soapstone, 2 or 3 or 4 at a time, and bought a box. I don't remember what it cost, and I've worked my way halfway through it, and it's such a time saver when I don't have a piece in my pocket to walk over to the file cabinet, pull it out, and grab a piece of soapstone and go back to work. Now, that's one thing. The next thing is something called Silver Streak, and it's a little mechanical pencil equivalent, and that piece is just about worn out, but it just makes the nicest, tightest, most legible line that you can get, especially good for cutting with a bandsaw or a cutoff wheel or a plasma cutter. But soapstone by the box, a Silver Streak pencil, if you can keep track of it, makes marking way better. So one of the problems or challenges in fabrication is holding things where they go while you're going to weld them. You know, it's not easy. So however handy a welding magnet is, this is cosmic. This is a mag switch mini multi-angle tool sent to me by one of you guys, and it works like this. Look at that. You talk about handy, you can put it exactly where it goes, bring it in, turn that little switch, and it's stuck. Now, I assume that it's moving a rare earth magnet closer and further from the steel, but it also has other angles. And it's just, I don't know, I wouldn't try this anymore without one of these things. So fabrication, much like building cabinets, implies clamping. You have to hold things in place, and they're irregular shapes. And you probably know about vice grips. And you know about vice grip C-clamps. But did you know that vice grip makes a clamp like that? So I've been using these a lot on my gate fabrication project right over here. I mean, there are long distances you have to squeeze, and you have to squeeze hard. And you have to squeeze in a hurry. And so, you know, when you're in the parts house or in a garage sale and you see one of these ugly things, you need it. So the next one is this combo square. It's made by Cruz Industrial. I think other people make them. And this is particularly well suited if you're using a plasma cutter, but you may not be. But you can run your plasma cutter right down the edge of that bronze blade. But the advantage here is that unlike a regular combination square or tri-square, the distance that you have to the vertical surface that you have to square against is greater. So that radiused edge on a piece of tubing, which will really mess up a regular framing square, and it's not that great with a regular carpenter's combination square, this thing gets down there far enough that you can get a good reading clear up onto the edge. And not only that, but it's magnetic. And so well, if it's not so dirty, it's magnetic. And so the idea is that there are times when it'll hold itself to a piece of plate stock and you can just run your cut. So this next item, I didn't even know it existed until, I don't know, I started meeting machinists, because It's at home in a machinist's office, and boy is it handy in a fabrication shop. And it's a set of transfer punches. And they look like drill bits, except there's no cutting capacity. There's just a center punch in the exact center of the circle. So what it does, it gives you the capacity to transfer the center of a circle from one piece of work into the next. I used it 3 or 4 times this last week, making this enclosure for this electromagnet. I used it for transferring these holes and those holes and these holes from this electromagnet into the housing that I was making to hold this against the gate post. You can see that we've got a playlist of making an entry gate, and I mean, here's how it works. This is a 3/16 transfer punch. Boom, it goes right into the hole through there. This would be a, what size is it? Did I drill? I think I drilled, must have been that one, 3/8. Can't read it, doesn't matter. You get the idea. You can put that through there and bam, you got a center punch mark, you know where to drill so that your hole lines up and you can tap it or whatever you got to do. So transfer punches are oh so handy when you need them. And just keep your eyes open. Because there are people out there like the guy that has Fireball Tools, Jason Marburger. That guy's got a brain the size of a Volkswagen. You got to go to his website and see the tools that he's invented. Just common sense adaptations of existing tools to do the job better, to interface with, more modern technology. Frankly, he's got squaring devices on there that should have been around for 1,000 years, but they're here now. So check that out. The last item I want to show you is not a tool, it's a consumable. But man, it's so nice. And it is Weld Aid anti-spatter. Now, I mean, you can spray some WD-40 on there, and you could, anything you spray on your parent stock is probably going to keep the little BBs from sticking so badly. But this stuff is so convenient, and it just works so good. You put it on there and the BBs don't stick. And I'm not going to show you either of these welds because they're not the welds I want to show, and it's my channel. And I didn't spray this one, so there's a few BBs. But I'll show you some welds on the gate frame that are frankly a lot better, where I use this stuff religiously, and there's not a BB to be found. Keep your eyes open. Gear up. Better tools can mean better work. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.